sir, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. We are live, yes, sir. What's going on, everybody, man? Episode 40, you dig? J17, what up, man? J Myth, my guy, what up, man? 4-5 on the track. Ace Nieto, Class E, Lano, man. The whole gang is in here. Yes, sir, man. Episode 40. Big shout out to episode 40, man. Yo. Who's 40 for 40, man? Where are all my 40 for 40ers, man? I know Lano's 40 for 40. I think J17's 40 for 40. I know my boy Janetic is 40 for 40. Man, shout out to you guys, man. You guys are actually the most important part of this entire thing. The guys that have been here for day one, that tune in to the call-in shows, bring up great topics, call in for the live Q&A, ask great questions, keep the chat lit, keep the chat organized, keep it funny, keep it valuable. Man, what else? What is another great benefit of you guys, man? You guys keep me on point. When you bring up these topics, you let me know exactly the topics that we need to bring up and we need to talk about. Man, what else, man? So much benefit, man. Shout out to you guys, man. 40 for 40 gang. Okay. Chris 90's 40 for 40. Med Games 40 for 40. G Clues 40 for 40. Goku 40 for 40. This is dope, man. Yes, please hit that like button, J17. Thank you for the reminder. We got a dope episode for episode 40. First of all, Santa Cup. I got my Santa Cup coffee gang, you know. Black coffee gang. Keurig gang today, so I don't got my coffee pop. So yeah, dope interview today, man. We have 4-5 said he's 39 for 40. Okay, almost, man. What episode did you miss? What up? A Magnificent. Hades, my guy, what up, man? So yeah, dope episode today. We got Cory Litwin, man. Who is actually entrepreneur. He's got a dope story. I was actually watching one of his most recent podcasts, one that he just did a couple of days ago. Actually, I listened to the podcast, got some great background information from him. I knew him for being Murda Beatz manager. He also manages producer Nas Moore, who we had on the podcast back in 2018 when he had actually just signed to Murda Gang. Shout out to Nas Moore. Yeah, but Cory is, like I said, manager of Murda Beatz and several other very talented producers. He's also the founder of 2020 Music Group, which is his own company where he, he manages artists. He's got some production credits under that, and he's also an A&R / consultant at Capitol Records, man. But he's got a dope story, man. He's a man that has worn many hats on his rise to success in his journey, and who is actually. It's really interesting to me because he's used a lot of these different hats to help him in the other areas. You know what I mean? So we'll talk about, he's had a grill company, started off really in the event and promotion scene, the club scene. And that's really kind of where he got his name in Toronto. So this guy is from Toronto, and that's really where he got his start and where he built his connections, started building his relationships. Let's see if we got him in here. Yes, sir, man. We got him in the Zoom chat. So real quick, let me just show you guys. Definitely give this man a follow. Let me switch over to the screen mode. Are we in screen mode? It's hard. I'm on one screen here. Yep. Okay, so yeah, give this man a follow here, Cory Litwin. You can find out more information about him. You can scroll, find out a little bit more about his lifestyle. You can see his dog here and private jet, PJ lifestyle, married man. Like I said, man, entrepreneur, very inspirational. So let's go ahead and get it started, man. We might as well bring him in here. Episode 40, man. Let's bring it in the right way.
What's up, brother?
Yo, what's going on, man? Let me make sure we're good to go here. We're good to go. Cool, man. Hey, first of all, man, we appreciate you this morning, man. It's a pleasure having you on the show. I don't know how much you're familiar with this show, man, but we interview a lot of producers, a lot of behind the scenes guys. We've had lawyers, we've had managers. Man, what else, man? We've had a lot of very dope key players, like keep this music thing going and help bring our most favorite producers and artists to the forefront. I was just giving them a little bit of background information from you about, being Murda's manager, along with a roster of several other talented producers. Founder of 2020 Music Group, also an A&R consultant at Capitol Records. But we're going to get to basically cover all that stuff, but I want to bring it back, man. And, we're big on come up stories here. I say that pretty much every episode. I sound like a broken record, but we are big on come up stories. We love hearing the details and the good times and mixed with the bad times, the inspirational times. But let's take it back, man, to my first question is, I know you are a college student at the University of Western Ontario. And I know that's kind of where you got your start, with events and promoting parties and stuff. But I want to know, like, going into college, did you have a hustler mindset already, or were you more of like a going to college to get a regular job, and just, was there a shift in mindset, or were you a hustler from the beginning?
Yeah, no, I was definitely a hustler from the beginning. I mean, the first event I did, I was 12 years old. I was really into wrestling and
like WWE or like high school wrestling? Okay.
No, WWE, like Triple X and Stone Cold, Steve Austin, all that stuff. And the guys, the only people I know who did events were bar and bat mitzvahs. I was 12 and 13 years old and growing up Jewish and stuff. So there was guys bringing these wrestlers to the community center where I grew up in Thornhill, Ontario. It's like a suburb of Toronto. And I hustled tickets in grade 7 for like a free entry and hot dogs,
Gotcha.
like a hot dog ticket and shit. I went into university completely just on like the social tip, very excited to be out of the house for the first time.
Right.
Promoting parties, all that. So much so that I actually realized I wasn't even ready the first year, ended up leaving my first semester, deferring to my next year. Then got a fresh start, and yeah, like university was really a place where I learned. I mean, obviously, I learned and stuff in classes, but like my memories and what I took from there was learning about people and like how to really network and how to. It was a very coming from Canada too. Today's Canada Day, by the way. Shout out Canada.
Hey, shout out to our neighbors to the north, man.
Yeah, that's what I was just doing while I was waiting for you. I was doing a Canada Day post on Instagram, and yeah, just like learning how to become friends and socialize with people of all cultures, people of all races, people from countries from all over the world. I had roommates from Trinidad, Barbados, Uganda, America. Like I was never in like one specific like clique. I feel like I was really good at being in all groups and like friends with the rich kids, friends with the not so rich kids, friends with the white kids, friends with the black kids, friends with the Jewish groups, friends with the frat groups, friends with all of them. And like I quickly just kind of fell into throwing events because I just wanted I wanted to bring everyone to the parties that I was going to, and then realized you can make money from this, and just quickly started doing that.
Yeah, because so I noticed you had said, not to cut you off, but that just reminds me of what was the? Forgive me for the podcast that you just did. It was AB. What's his name?
Yeah, my friend Andrew Belak, who actually went to Western with me, he just started doing podcasts. He asked me to jump on.
Okay, yeah, Andrew Belak. I had checked that out, and one of the things that interested me, what I really connected with, is you said you didn't really have like a clique, like a wholehearted clique. You kind of were like, you were kind of involved in all the cliques, like you just said, like you could communicate and engage with people across all levels, which I think is super important and a really undervalued, not so much talked about skill set, especially early on.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess we're doing the come up story now, so I'll stay chronologically, but just to
for sure
jump ahead for a second, that's the skill that like I knew I had to start working in the music industry. I didn't study music in college. Like I didn't know. I mean, huge hip hop fan since I was a kid. I subscribed to the Source XXL since I was young. So I thought I knew everything about the music industry because I knew everything about hip hop gossip.
Okay.
To like who's fucking with who signed to which label, like different styles of hip hop, history of hip hop, but very humbly learned when I came out here that I actually knew nothing about the music business. So what my skill was being comfortable and knowing how to network and make real, genuine relationships. There's one thing with being like confident to be able to go up and like speak to different people and meet different people, but it's also one thing. It's also another thing about being genuine. And I don't know if I think that's a skill that you can develop. But as I've learned now from running my own company and hiring staff, it's not something you can like really teach. Something that like that. That's what I feel being. I was out in college town for 7 years. I was in school for 4 years. Probably would have taken me 5 years to get the degree that I hoped to get at the beginning. But then I quickly was making a career out of throwing events when as Facebook was just starting. So like now when people hear the word promoter, everyone thinks of their like douchebag annoying friends who just blow them up, send them invites and yada yada, and everyone's a promoter. But back then it was like Facebook was really just starting, so learning how to master that. You could actually only have Facebook if you were in college or university. You had to put your student number in it, and I from that turned into throwing. I'll stick on topic with the music.
Sure.
From that, started doing my own parties and concerts. The first one I booked, Fat Man Scoop. I started running a club. And then I actually booked Nipsey Hussle in 2012.
Fire.
I stopped doing rap I stopped doing rap shows because so many of the rappers couldn't get across to the Canadian border.
Really?
It's actually one of the hardest borders in to cross for Americans.
Okay.
Like I did a game tour. The game went all over the world, Australia, Europe, everything. Canada, if you even have a DUI, they don't let you in.
Gotcha.
America.
Gotcha.
So Nipsey, the cool thing about that, shout out the late great Nip, he was like the only guy ever. He personally reached out, not an agent or manager, to let us know that he had an altercation and he's not going to be allowed over the border and sent back the money in full, which is really cool. But yeah, did that. I was very successful out there. So stayed out there. Was running my own company, running events and stuff like that. I led to me promoting. A couple friends of mine were doing a concert for a new artist named Drake, who obviously you know now. But in 2009, this is like 4 or 5 months before So Far Gone, like his first big breakout project. And these guys more just like invested in the show, wanted to do it. They paid him $20,000, so people were like laughing at us that we paid him so much money. Right. The only other gig he did before that was for like $5,000 hosting. So they asked me to promote it, and I ended up selling like 70% of the tickets hand to hand, just having to like sing everyone Drake is, yada, like that. And that's when I started my company, 2020 Marketing.
Okay.
Wanted to have my own company.
How many people were at that show?
It sold out. Sound Academy in Toronto. I don't know what the capacity is. I think it was like 2,200.
Okay.
Like that. Fun Beat flew out, which was legendary. But like a real like established rapper in the music industry was coming for this guy in Toronto, because we didn't have the biggest rapper we had was Cardinal Official before that.
Okay.
Like people, it never like now I'm in Toronto. Everybody's trying to make it in the music industry, and everyone's trying to be a rapper or music executive. You ride on the subway or you see at bus stops, there's ads about music programs and all the incredible music grants that our government has in Canada. But back then it was never a thought of mine to work in the music industry, because I would only be thinking about working in the music industry in Canada.
Gotcha.
Prior to Drake, we weren't really thinking about working in the music industry in the world. In America, that didn't seem like an option or possibility.
Yeah, that actually, that brings up a good question, because now I feel like with all the access to, podcasts and come up stories, guys like yourself and, other names in the industry kind of, it's a lot, and with Instagram and stuff, it's a lot easier, I feel like, for young aspiring entrepreneurs and creatives to have a vision of like, being in the music industry and what that looks like and what they want. But, back then, would you say you were kind of just more like wheeling, dealing, hustling, trying to get in where you fit in as far as making money and stuff like that?
Yeah, like I said, I kind of fell into the event stuff, just like first summer when I was 18, just realizing that I'm bringing I'm bringing like 50 to 80 of my like friends to like parties, and someone else is making money. So like I want to make money. And then realizing like, okay, like now I'm actually like not only just bringing people to events at clubs, I'm running the club, and they want me to do content and shows. So okay, I love hip hop, let me do hip hop. And then just getting, as I was getting older, I'm like, the trajectory of this, like the like older people and like that I like my like OGs, so to say, in what I was doing, were now buying clubs and owning clubs and doing that. And just that wasn't the life that I saw for myself. That wasn't a life that I wanted. I didn't want to be 40, owning and sitting in nightclubs every night, dating young girls, and cheating with young girls with my wife. Like I still wanted to have like a family, and I had dreams of doing much bigger things. Also, I'm in a college town, London, Ontario, doing this stuff. So I'm like a big fish in a very small pond. I just had much bigger visions. Like I wanted to do world things. I always thought about wanting to come to LA, do things in LA, and was very infatuated by shows like The Entourage and stuff like that. And
yeah,
because largely also because I was just very adamant on like I do not want to live in a place where it's snowing for half the year.
Right.
Somewhere warm. Once I started throwing rap concerts, eventually moved back to Toronto, and I started like
from London or
from London.
Okay.
Yeah, I was still living 2 hours.
Okay.
I was still living in Toronto, but like full time. It's like, okay, now I'm gonna go be a small fish in a big pond. Okay. Toronto's a big city. And I wanted to, so I was still doing events, but trying to think of a way to cross over to something else, just didn't know exactly what. So I started like the biggest hip hop party in Toronto for like mainstream, because back then it was very separated. Mainstream clubs would have EDM house music. They wouldn't really play hip hop because I was seen as like ghetto and dangerous.
Okay.
So I did like a big hip hop party at like a mainstream club with like not segregated at all, and I'd have like NBA players and rappers at my parties every week. So now I just wanted to think of a way, okay, like I'm good at being friends with all these guys. I need to have something to offer. I can't just be that like cool guy in Toronto. I got to think of a way to segue this into something else. And then around that time, a friend of mine, Bianca, whose dad was a dentist, she approached me asking if she could make me a grill. Because she knows that I'm like around a lot of like famous rappers and basketball players and stuff. I'm like, I don't think I'd ever wear a grill. I'm a Jewish kid from the suburbs. Like, what? And then she's like, trust me, it's like a huge trend now. Go home, type in girls with grills. I went home, typed in, I saw every like not, to me it was Paul Wall and a Southern Ellie wearing grills, but it was everyone. And there was no one really doing it in Toronto. So like the next day, I just hit up some people. I said, yo, if I did a grills company, would you want a grill? The first person I hit up was the Top Season guys, OVO. So it was like OB and those OVO people. And I went to their studio, made them all impressions without even having a jeweler yet. Very quickly, this company called Goldie Rocks Grills, this is back in like early 2014, became one of the biggest brand, I wouldn't say most profitable, but one of the biggest brand grills company. Like my skill was really making noise. The party I had was called Turned Up. I almost trademarked the word because Soulja Boy had started trademarking it, but then dropped it. I should have. I didn't know it was gonna become like an actual like real word in the English language like it is now.
I saw the YouTube, your YouTube too, where you got like a couple of those low key videos from, you had like drama and just like these highlights from your parties and stuff like that.
Yeah, and that was a big thing too. So I had like no nice club would let you wear hats, and I would like give out these like turned up hats, and I'd have photographers taking pictures, and I used to have hot girls wearing turned up hats everywhere. So much so that Alicia Keys ended up like buying a bunch of the hats for her like team to wear them. Like the word was like just becoming a thing. Yeah. And so I was really good at making noise. So the Grillz company making a lot of noise, had an article in Double XL about it. Immediately started making for a bunch of like local rappers, baseball players, social influencers, models, yada yada.
So were you
Everyone.
giving them free grills at this time, or like what did you have to sell them on
That
it?
would
Or?
often be my approach for like celebrity or someone with like a million followers. So pretty much all I wasn't now trying to become a jeweler.
Right.
I was okay when I meet these, like you said, like dramas and basketballers. Now when I meet them, not only am I like a cool guy in Toronto who can get them into the club and bottles and bitches and whatever else they want. Now I have a product to offer too. It's like a like I from very early, like no one taught me this, but like whenever I do parties, whether I was promoting them or throwing them myself, like I'd pick up the artist from the airport, I'd bring them to dinner. I never had to be the artist chauffeur. The club would always pay for a driver. I did that so I could make genuine relationships, and a lot of these relationships
That's a gem.
I ended up having when I came out to LA with Murda, because I'm now I have a real connection with this person. Like drama that night brought me to dinner with Drake at Soto in Toronto. Like Batman Scoop. I'm doing his podcast next week. Is like a brother of mine, because like I formed a real relationship with him, rather than just like seeing it as like like a asset and getting like a cool picture.
Yeah.
I was obviously getting the picture too, but
that would have never happened though if you were like, oh man, I'm the boss. I'm not about to drive this man around and stuff like that.
I always understood that it's like important, and just to do same thing. There's like assistants, there's like runners, there's like people working at the club who can be the one to get them the bottle. But I'd want to be the one to give them the bottle. I'd want to be the one to do like every level of service. They can be like, this guy's really hard, because like I said, I always knew when I'm doing these parties and this club stuff, this is not what I want to do when I'm 40. These are important relationships.
Yeah.
So like I would be cool doing an event with a big rapper, big artist, big anyone, and breaking even, because it's still a success to me that I now have another relationship. I knew I wanted to do something in this industry that I was like, that in my spare time I was like reading about and studying and passionate about and listening to.
That's that long-term vision too, man. I think I can relate this to producers real quick too, because a lot of times it's like we preach the importance of having like being an engineer, like and having that skill to be able to record. And it's not because you don't want to be the guy sitting behind the computer taking orders from the artist, but that can get you indoors, that can get you relationships and stuff. And if you could just have that long-term vision and be willing to feet in the mud, head down for a little while, you can really like exponentially increase your chances at that. But I don't mean to interrupt, please continue with the story.
And what you're saying, it's also good to like understand the work that it takes at all levels, so you can respect it too, and like really understand 100%. It. But yeah, so you asked it, your question was I giving them for free? Like once again, this was not, because this is not what I saw as long term. This was not something that I really was thinking about as a get rich thing. This was more the money that I would make from selling the grills. We couldn't even keep up with the demand, because we're not jewelers. I'm not a jeweler. Like, and I would do an impression on someone, and I'd go to a jeweler, buy it for like maybe discounted, but the what we're selling it for is just like slightly marked up, and it's often friends. Any bit of profit that we had would go to make free grills for celebrities. Ended up making for Snoop Dogg and Sway Lee and Kylie Jenner and some of the Kardashians, like Party Next Door, Tyga, like everybody. And that's how I met Murda.
Gotcha. But this was like a real bootstrap. There was no funding, no nothing. Even though her dad was a dentist, it's not like he was throwing you guys money to get started. None of that.
No, we did everything ourselves.
Very cool.
And I mean, she's still doing the company for me though. I knew this is a segue, and like I was already 1 foot in, 1 foot out of the club. This is now like 2014, so I was now in an office where I'd like in like the corporate side of like the like event management and stuff, and trying to just trying to find a way to like segue this into something else. And then then I was starting this Goldie Rocks company. I was working on that all day, every day while I was in the office. I learned really quick in the office that like I need to be my own boss, because just building someone else's dream wasn't really working for me. And so that was cool. And then when I was like really, it was kind of like like I really believe in manifestation, and I went on like a family cruise, and I was like really talking about it and thinking like I like that like I want to move on to something else and something bigger, yada yada. And like my first day back, I went to the jeweler to drop off a bunch of molds to turn into grillz, and I met Murda.
Mm.
Um, this is like August 2014, and at that time, like rewind a couple months before that, a guy said he wanted to come play any music. A lot of people were asking me to manage them just because I was like doing a lot of big things in the city and was into music and put that out there that I want to do something in music, and was like known as like a good hustler, a good guy. I met this kid, Roy Woods, who's now signed to OVO, from Toronto, and just heard him freestyle, and I freestyled with him and listened to his music for like hours. And that's when I knew that I'm like quitting the club shit. I want to work in music. And I was like, I was like intern helping with like managing and talking about becoming his manager, partnering with his current manager. And then I met Murda. The security at the jeweler, Rock City in Toronto, introduced us. And I mean, I thought he was cool. Thought he had an interesting vibe. Looked at his Instagram. He had like 11,000 followers, which showed me that he was doing something. Like back then too, like having 11,000 followers was something.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and saw that it said that he was working with like Chief Keef, Migos, and I think it said like Rich Homie Quan and Young Thug on his bio too.
So this is after he had like came down to Atlanta and established with the Migos and stuff.
Yeah, but back then Migos were just
right.
A mixtape group. This is before their first album, so Versace was already out.
Mm-hmm.
So they were like a new buzzing mixtape group, and I saw it's cool that he's working with these guys. So yeah, I exchanged contacts. I was introduced to him as, hey, this guy Cory, big promoter in the city, knows everybody, and I was doing a festival in 2 weeks, headlined by ASAP Rocky.
Dope.
So yeah, we exchanged contacts. He was with his boy Smokescreen, who's another dope producer from Niagara area where Murda's from. And yeah, exchanged contacts. And over the next week, Murda was very persistent, would hit me like a couple times a day saying he wants to come down to Toronto to play me beats and show me that he's legit. And after like a week, I was like, all right, bro, come down.
Pull up, yeah.
Yeah, pull up. Went to my friend Cheese house because he had kind of like a little home studio, had him pull up, and he played me a bunch of beats. And the beats were hard. The beats were dope. But it wasn't like, this is an important point, and this is what I tell people too, because people send me their beats all the time. People will send me their beats or their friend beats. People will send me demos. People will send me, gotta hear my friend. She has the best voice. You gotta sign her. It wasn't just because Murda didn't play me one beat that I was like, oh my god, okay, fuck music.
Yeah.
I mean, sorry, fuck the clubs, fuck whatever's making me a lot of money right now. I'm gonna devote all my energy and time in my life to you because of this amazing beat. His beats were dope, but it was more like his persistence, his relentlessness, his attitude. I just tell this kid was like really focused, and that was what inspired me, and like a light bulb went up, and the fact that he was just very different. I'm like, okay, so this is a kid from Canada, white kid. He had very long, I mean, there's a picture from Forbes here, but that's even like 2017. He had very long, shaggy hair. Did just, when you think of like hard rap and like Murda, was not what you think of. It was like, for me, the guy throwing parties and concerts, and like I said, a lot of rappers couldn't get into Canada, so I was doing a lot of DJs, a lot of like EDM European DJs, especially in the college. That was like the big thing back then. So my vision was like, and the biggest back then was Calvin Harris. I was like, yo, he could be like the Calvin Harris of hip hop. I can make him into like a DJ.
Right,
He
right.
could be that's because that's the world that I knew. And you know, like when I asked a couple of friends of mine, like a very close friend of mine back then and still now, was party next door, and like was this is now like a couple months later. But Murda then would come down like once once a week for a day or two. We'd hang out together, then turned into him coming down for a week at a time, sleeping on my couch. And I asked Party about like managing him. He's like, bro, I made good money throwing parties. He's like, you're never gonna make as much money managing a producer you would throwing parties. But like there's just me and Murda together. I immediately treated him like a superstar to the public, at least. We have a very brother relationship, but like bringing him out to local clubs in Toronto, because I was out of clubs 3 to 5 nights a week, making them play his one song that DJs would like 50% have was Emmett Smith. So that's what we do. I go to the DJ booth. This is Murda Beatz, Migos producer, new kid I'm working with. Need you to play Emmett Smith. And if the DJ didn't have it, I'd make them download it on their phone and play it. Yeah. Like that was the big thing that we did at the beginning in Toronto too. And yeah, just like I think after like a month, I helped him. We made a Murda management email, and I was just like helping with his business a little bit. We didn't know exactly what I would do. He's like, "Yo, you could be my like co A&R." I didn't know what A&R meant, and I didn't even know what co meant. He didn't have anyone else. So, but yeah, like moral of the story there is like it wasn't like, yo, I want you to be my manager. He was thinking at that time that it'd be a good time to start getting a manager, because the Migos had flown him out to Atlanta. He spent some time there, and they were trying to offer him a contract to sign him. He didn't, because he has an incredible mother and a good kid. With, you know, like went to show his mom the contract. They wanted to wait, think about seeing a lawyer, and he started having placements come out, but didn't really have anyone to help him with the business. So he thought now's a good time to start having a manager to help me with the business side of things. Okay. Things are starting to pop off, but and he had a thought that now would be a good time to start making some buzz locally. I'm doing some things with like the Migos new mixtape artist Migos, Pee Wee Longway. Started fucking with like Lil Durk and Chief Keef in Chicago, you know, but he's going out to these places by himself. 20-year-old young white kid from very small town in Canada. Right. Yeah, so he just him knowing that like I'm doing parties and friends with the guys in EXO and OVO and stuff like that. Like that's what drew him to me initially. And then like we just had a very like my hustler mentality of networking and stuff like that. He had a very similar mentality, and like we were able to really blend well together and formed a good team. Like my way of getting to like the artists that I wanted to get to, making grillz, like I'd want to get to like, I want to make one for Drake, so I'd make for all of his like friends around him, you know, like he wanted to get to the Migos, so he found out who their engineer was Skippa the Flippa at the time. Like interesting that you said earlier, like it's good to be like an engineer first. Right. Before he was a rapper's engineer, he reached out to him on Twitter, sent him beats for those beats to then be said, I'll give you a couple beats if you play some for Quavo.
That's crazy. I never knew Skipper was an engineer. I really didn't know that.
Yeah. Great guy. And yeah, just like Murda's like tunnel vision focus on becoming a big producer, like that inspired me, and like I want to do something big in music. And I was just waiting in Los Angeles and just waiting for like, I knew it wasn't enough to just go out there and be like, hey, what's up? Like, I'm Cory. I'm a great guy. Let's be friends, you know? Yeah. And I learned in like 2012, I went for a meeting with my friend Ivan, who was like the head of urban at Universal Canada. Told him I want to work in music, but I had like nothing. He's like, okay, what do you want to do? And I'm like, I don't know. And like I learned like, yo, like when you're gonna go have these like meetings with these big people, when you're gonna like it's important to like have something to offer or like have specific, direct, exact vision or like goals. Otherwise, it's kind of like wasting your time. So like just started spending time with Murda, and organically from when we met in August to December, we started going to meet with local rappers in Toronto and selling beats and getting studios and going to clubs and getting rappers to come to a studio after. If I make them a free grill,
Mm.
I'd offer them a grill. They'd come to the studio after and tell them Murda, and then Murda would play some beats, start working with them, and that happened with like Ray Shremmerd very early, and Snoop Dogg very early, and people like that. And then yeah, we met with some lawyers, and in December 2014, we signed a contract for me to become his manager. Because I was a first-time manager, we put some like stipulations in there that
Yeah.
like just to protect Murda, like that I'm gonna actually do a good job. And like I think it was like something like I had to get his like music or introduce him to like 15 or 20 established people in the music industry, whether it's an artist or like someone working at like a record label or publishing company in the first year. And I was totally cool with that because I was like, yeah, like I'm gonna do a good job. Like that's because that's what I'm saying that I'm bringing to the table, not my like experience in being manager. It's that I'm gonna go out and hustle and
Yeah.
make shit happen for you.
Hell yeah.
And I did that 15-20 in like the first 3 days or something, you know.
Damn.
Like, but yeah, we went to LA because I had a friend named Tyler Arms, who full circle I'm now managing, and he's part of Murda Gang, signed to Murda. But he was in a big pop band in Canada called Down with Webster, and he was living out in Bel Air in LA. And he said that and I said I have this new kid I'm working with, really cool, dope producer. Would love to come stay out there for a week or two. And yeah, me and Murda, we drove to his house in Fort Erie, Niagara Falls, and we signed a management contract, and the next day flew out to LA. Also, something that we did, which was really smart from advice of a friend, was we each incorporated our own company at that same time, right before signing the contract. So he incorporated himself, I incorporated myself. It was maybe a little premature. We weren't making money like that yet.
Yeah.
But it was advice that we got just to protect. So anything that happens with like Murda is separate from Shane. Anything that happens like my management is separate from Cory.
Yeah. Was it like a, I don't know if you guys have the same thing in Canada, like a S corp or like a LLC or like?
It was a incorporation. It was incorporated.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I don't know if that's the same as.
Yeah, like over here we got like S corps and C corps.
Yeah, yeah, I know about that stuff, but I haven't had to do it for myself. Yeah,
Gotcha. Yeah.
But yeah, similar. Just it wasn't a small business. It was an actual incorporation.
That's dope.
So it's still a small business, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. So went to LA and I knew Tyler because I used to throw after parties for him and like get him girls when he was like performing at clubs and pop band and stuff like that. So came out to stay with him for, our plan was a couple weeks and ended up being 3.5 months, our first time coming out here. We didn't go home for Christmas or New Year's because coming from Canada, you need a visa to be working in America. But to get a visa, a talent visa, it's called an O1 in America, you got to be a special, unique talent. So it's like that's what makes it really hard for Canadians and Europeans to make it in America, because you got to be super popping to get a visa, but you can't work till you have a visa.
Right. It's you got to fight a current to, you know what I mean?
You got to finesse. You got to reach success and make noise, but like without making too much noise. Because like if they find out, like if you do a tour, if you're on a flyer, if you're in a lot of pictures, which is part of the come up, like part of building my focus, because
Right.
my knowledge and experience, like I told you, is like making noise, building brands, stuff like that, was my equal focus to getting him in like in rooms with people and stuff like that, was building his brand. And that's why like Murda's brand is so strong, because the main focus from the beginning, one of my vision is he's going to be a superstar. So it's like, and he would always be like, nah, I'm never going to DJ. I'm not going to DJ. But like that was never part of his vision at the beginning. But his vision was becoming the biggest producer in the world and being a superstar. But like it wasn't necessarily thinking about performing as a DJ.
Okay.
But my vision was always his brand. So it's hard because we're trying to get him in pictures with celebrities. He would always go out on the stage with the Migos when they perform Murda song. He'd go out on stage and he'd always have his classic Murda Beatz backpack and walking on stage.
Yeah, yeah, hell yeah.
So yeah, so that was definitely a challenge, and that's why it was tough. When we come out here, we did that until we got our visas in summer 2016. We'd come out for a few months at a time and sleeping on people's couches and finding different places to stay. And we ended up living with Party for 3 or 4 months. I went on tour with Party, and when I came back, I connected him and Murda. Prior to that, Party wasn't working with other producers. His brand is OMO, on my own.
Mm.
Shout out to Party, like one of the greatest songwriters of all time alive, period. And yeah, just when Party would go to clubs in Toronto, he'd be with me. When Murda would go to Toronto, he's staying with me. He'd be with me. And one night, just connected them and brought them into the studio, and they vibed. And out in LA, I got them to start working together, and then we ended up crashing there one night. Turned to like 3 months, and that's how we got our first Drake placement, the song "With You." And yeah, man, like it worked really well, me and Murda, because we were both down to like tunnel vision, have this like my entire life, entire focus was just Murda Beatz. From the second I woke up, the second I went to bed, and his was just his music career. There was no real other distractions. And like, but just like university and college from the beginning, huge part of his career was socially engineered. Like it was like the music is a small component, like I said from the beginning, right? It wasn't just the beats that he played.
Right, yeah.
The beats were incredible. He's obviously the fucking GOAT. Like that's why he is where he is. And like, I'm not saying that your music still has to be incredible, because eventually whatever you're doing in the pizzazz and the brand and the social and the good manager and all that, eventually you got to push play, or you got to actually perform, and your shit's got to be dope. But what separates, there's many dope people, like there's many people who make sick beats. Like what separates is all those other factors. That's why like, is a small piece of the pie.
I love hearing like the other intricate parts like that just the behind the scenes plays, like going to the club and getting them to pull up to the studio to talk about a grill, and then you got Murda walking in, like that's just fire. That's like the stuff that most people don't even think about. They just think, oh, I got to email artists and beats, and I need a manager so he can look at my producer agreements, what I mean? But it's like you can really like there's no blueprint, there's no playbook. You make the blueprint, you make the plays.
And also, I think the fact that I knew nothing was like an advantage to me, because like gave me an advantage over a lot of other maybe managers coming up at the beginning, because I knew that I knew nothing. I feel like a lot of other people maybe will do their research study and like, okay, I know publishing, I know what to do, and they won't feel the need to ask questions. Every single thing at the beginning, and many things even now, and many things for the rest of my life, I from a very early age in my music career, I got great mentors in the industry. And like even the very first time we had to do I had to do agreements for Murda for his placements with the Migos on their first album. He had Pipe It Up and 2 other songs on it. And I called Boy Wonder, like, yo, what's publishing? Actually, I think there was one earlier. It was Omarion. but yeah, I'd call Wanda, I'd call Sunny Digital, and then like now I was moving further in the music industry, like in our music career, became friends with a lot of other execs. Early on became friends with Jamil Davis, who's Drake's tour manager and G-Eazy's manager, and I would call these people and ask for advice and guidance, and I would never just assume that I like know what to do, and know, you know, I'd ask others for direction and always be learning. And like a big thing at the beginning was, yeah, wanting to get to high places, so making friends with people, and often that took making a free grill or getting them booked in Toronto or after partying with them and staying up till 6 a.m. and becoming friends with people. And we were out at Christmas at the first time, and I snuck us into. I made a meeting with Jennifer Drake, who was a A&R at UMPG at the time. Now she's a top A&R at Sony. Right before their Christmas meeting, right before their big Christmas party, so I could sneak into the party. And like we weren't invited, but I finessed. Murda's like, yo, we shouldn't be here. We're not gonna get in. We're not on the list. I'm like, trust me, bro. We like waited for like 3 hours at like a coffee shop next door. Ended up sneaking us in, finessing the fact that we just had a meeting with Jennifer Drake there. Got in and met a bunch of people there, and I find out, oh, this guy writes for Omarion, so we become friends with that guy, and then get in the studio with Omarion, and then make a grill. So now we have to stay there longer. Now we have a better relationship, and then keep things going like that. Found out that this guy Jamil was having a Christmas party, so figured out a way for like me to be able to go along as someone's plus one, and then bring Murda with me and become friends with everyone there. And met Cortez that night, met Pat, Chance the Rapper's manager, met G-Eazy there, and all that, and would just become friends with everybody, and and go to the parties, and whatever we had to do to make relationships, and Murda was real. I was really good at doing this, like in the clubs and out in the streets. And
yeah, I was gonna say you got a real background in it.
Yeah, and Murda was really good at doing this shit on Twitter. Like the first big like artist that we got in the studio with was Nipsey Hussle. I said we went in December, so we didn't go home for Christmas because we didn't want to risk not being let back in the border. I had 2 friends at that time, like Honey Cocaine. We actually ended up living with for like a month. Rapper from Toronto, and Ram Riddles, both getting banned from America because they didn't have visas and were on tours, and then when you try to cross over, you get caught and you get banned.
Is that like a lifetime ban?
It's usually it's standard 5 years.
Wow. That's a big setback though.
Yeah, it's career ending for people.
Yeah, hell yeah.
But sometimes people get back sooner, just like with a jail sentence. You don't do the whole time. Like there's ways to get in sooner.
Yeah.
But so yeah, Murda one night he'd be on Twitter and he saw Nipsey Hussle tweeted like looking to work with some new producers, and Murda blew him up immediately. And we were invited to go to his studio the next day, and that's actually when we made the song "Grinding All My Life," which is on Nipsey's. I'm looking at the plaque. We just got the plaque for that. The Nipsey one up there. Grinding All My Life. That we made that night, like January 2015. Then on his album in 2018, won the Grammy. And that's like the one song we actually have with him that came out.
So can we take it back a little bit? I want to get some real tactical, practical advice. Being that you are like, pretty much, an expert at big background in networking in party scenes and social gatherings, for a producer, artist, or any aspiring music entrepreneur that maybe they're going to like an A3C or some kind of networking party, whether it be in Atlanta or LA. Instead of just being the guy that's like handing out a business card, handing out a flash drive, like what are some good ways to start conversation and kind of, just, be that social guy if you're not?
I think especially if you're not, because Murda wasn't.
Okay.
Murda was 20, but Murda now is extremely comfortable, confident, social, can go talk to anyone about himself. But I think part of what your question was, I think was if you're not that guy, I think it's just finding someone who really believes in you, who's good at speaking, and also Like I said at the beginning, it wasn't about me. I didn't know I was going to be Murda's manager. I really believed in him, um, without even knowing how we were going to do this. But I knew he's going to be great, and like I believed in him a lot, and I would, and that's why like even now, like from it's not even now, especially now, but from the beginning, Murda knew that he could trust me to speak for him, speak on his behalf, and like I think it's important going to one of these conferences. Yeah, like if you're not like I, I spoke at A3C and I'll have a bunch of people recognize me as Murda's manager and stuff. They come up to me very shy, want to hand me a flash drive or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Me and Murda, we went to like Big Sean concerts and Yo Gotti and a bunch of places, and we'd hand out drives to people. I don't know if anyone ever listened to one of those drives or I don't think we ever got a placement, I think, from that. Once again, I'm not saying you shouldn't do that. But like it's important to make the relationships. And yeah, I don't know. Like the one flash drive I definitely listened to and hit the guy back was someone, not saying that you need to spend money, but someone gave me a Starbucks. Someone met me, and then at the next thing that I spoke at, drove an hour, gave me a Starbucks like $10 card, and then like taped the flash drive to the back. So it was like something different. I'm not saying you got to spend money, but it was like something different that he stood out on. But yeah, I think it's definitely possible, especially in the times now, to just have a beat on YouTube and have it picked up and that song become an international hit and then start from then. It's definitely possible, but that's kind of like a lottery thing.
Yeah, man, that's it. Keyword lottery.
I think it's good to build. I think you need to build a relationship and like, even if it's just one, and then really lock in. Like you find a local artist that you really believe in, and he believes in you, and then really hone that. And whatever you got to do, like I'm not going to say that. Yeah, the way you do it is start a jewelry company, and then go to clubs and parties and make jewelry for people and do that. Like that was my story, but it's everyone's different.
Man, one thing that I just pick up is, man, like just kind of think outside of the box. Like, you know, if you need a manager, find the Cory in your city who's booking rappers, or, you know what I mean, is promoting clubs. Even if you're in a small city, they still bring, you know, artists in for shows and stuff like that. And, you know, find ways where you know he can, you know, just bring you into his circle kind of thing.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of new producers and stuff are looking for a manager who's already managing a couple other people. So what that means is you're going to be someone on that manager's roster, who already has a vision and focus on what he's doing, and now you're going to be a piece added to his pie.
Mm-hmm.
I think Murda was incredibly smart and visionary in believing in me and having the vision. Oh, my two crazy dogs just ran.
Shout out to the dogs. You're good, man. Go ahead.
I just lost my focus. Ashton chicken.
What's the dog's name, by the way?
Kobe.
Okay.
New one. This is our Art, and this is my fiance's dog, Art. Yeah, you could just leave him outside. Sorry, what were we saying?
We were talking about finding a manager and.
Oh yeah, I remember what I was saying. Yeah, I think Murda was like really smart vision in believing in me also, and that was important too, because like I wasn't an established manager.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of people are looking for, okay, I want this guy to be my manager because he manages this big artist or that person. I got it, but when Murda picking me, who didn't have, you know, like I said, he didn't just pick me to be his manager. He wanted to start working with me, and then we realized I'd be a good fit. I was able to devote my life to him. I was able to, and like I think it's like not necessarily producers, but like Justin Bieber's first manager, Scooter, like he was his life, you know, like Drake's manager, Future, like that's his life. Like a lot of artists who are with their day one manager, like Murda is with me. It's like they came up together. They did all of this together. They're like, for at least the first 3 years, there was, and even today, like the one thing I'm doing on my phone consistently from 6 a.m. to when I go to bed at 12, 1 to 6 a.m. Then the next day is Murda Beatz. Like that's my life, and everything else that I'm doing in music is tied into that. And I think it's, yeah, find, like you said, find a Cory in your city, find someone who really believes in you and is and knowing that, like, to reach great success, you got to do great things. You can't be normal. This can't be a part-time thing.
Yeah.
If it's a part-time job that you think that, like, I might make it big, but if not, I'm going to do this, then you're going to have part-time success, you know? So, like, if you want to have ultimate success, and then you need someone on your team who believes in that the same. And if you're having a manager on your team who believes that you're going to be the biggest star in the world, why would they not be willing to give up everything and just focus on you? And that's the thing. It's like, literally, I gave up my career. I was making 6 figures throwing parties. I didn't make any money my first couple of years managing Murda.
Wow.
I had a condo with a nice bed in Toronto. Now I'm sleeping on floors and other people's couches in LA, but
gave it up.
I believe in Murda, and like, I really tell people, like, listen to your gut, because there was times where, like, not only everyone around me was like, "What are you doing?" My own head even would be like, "What am I doing? Like, I'm so fucking tired. I'm like, I'm broke. I have negative money and credit card debt. Like, I'm paying rent for a condo in Toronto. I'm not even sleeping in." But, like, I listen to my gut, whether you call that God or whatever spirituality or religion you believe in. I believe in God, but yeah, like, when I listened to myself, I genuinely believed and knew and trusted the feeling that I had, that we're onto something and we're going to do something really special. And if you genuinely believe that, then you're willing to put your everything into it.
Man,
you know, so Murda found someone who was able to make him a priority and able to go, like, yes, I love Murda, believe in Murda, but when I'm going hard saying Murda Beatz, I'm doing that for Murda, and I'm doing that for myself too, because I'm a part of Murda Beatz.
Right.
I'm a partner, obviously a much smaller partner. Manager takes a percentage, but like that's, I fight for that, like I'm fighting for my own life, for my own future, because it is, you know. And at the beginning, I thought, Murda, I'm going to come in, learn the music industry and reach success there, and maybe then lead into other things. And it is leading to other things, but it's so beautiful that every other thing we're doing, from investments to other people, other producers working with, to other artists, whatever, it's all still like me and Murda. It still is 6 years later, you know.
100%, man. I gotta highlight the taking a leap of faith and risking. You know what I mean? Like, we're not talking about you had a job at making $15 an hour and you gave that up. We're talking about this man gave up a successful business, a 6-figure business, and took this leap of faith. And I feel like I talk to guys that are afraid to leave their city and give up their $500 rent apartment and their job at Lowe's to to try to at least take a shot at their dream.
And that's the thing. Like, I was just telling one of a guy who's living with me. I just bought a house, so I'm about to have no more roommates ever again. I'm very excited. But a guy living with, no disrespect to the people living with me, but a guy who's living with me is 23 years old, and then a guy who works for me named Brendan who's 23 years old. I was just telling him this yesterday, and a new producer that I was meeting with is 26. That in your 20s, and I think this is what, like, my mom told me when I was younger, but like, you can start something, go all in, fail, and start something else.
Facts.
Like if you really believe in, if you're in your 20s and you and this is what you want to do, not even if you really believe, if you want to even give working in music a serious try as a profession, you have to be willing to go all the fuck in, do whatever it takes, and potentially fail,
right?
And not let that stop you. Because like, look at, like, if whoever just watched the Jordan documentary, he failed. All the most successful people in the world failed, You know, you have to be, failure is just a part of success. Failure
Right.
is a part of it. You got to learn from that and keep going. Me and Murda would take shots at things and it wouldn't work. And we'd have to strategize and rethink. Like when I think back to like when like the like early years with Murda, like yeah, a lot of it was in studios, but a lot of it was also just like sitting in rooms and cars and thinking and plotting and fighting and trying to think like, how are we gonna make it? And there's a lot of strategy in it, you know, and there's a lot of just going to meet people, and then this person leads to that person, that person leads to that person. One of our big goals the first time out here was the game. The game was the big rapper in LA. And all this, we kept promising they could introduce us to the game. And we'd go work with that guy and that guy and that guy and that guy, meet that guy and that guy. And finally, and then we did like a session with a LA rapper, I forget who it was, and like a big writer at the time. And that guy finally brought us to the game. And then we spent like a month working with him. We made a bunch of songs with him. None of them even ended up making his album, but like everything, yeah, we'd always have like little goals and do whatever it takes to reach there, and not letting failure deter you. I feel most people never make it because they're like afraid to really start.
100%.
You know.
Now, go ahead.
No, that was it.
In your 8 Till Faint panel, I was watching it, and one thing that really caught me was, you know, you were talking about quarantine and everything. This was like, you know, right kind of at the beginning. You said you're strategic about how you send beats to artists. For instance, wait until they're, you know, finish it with their tour, because you know they're not really probably making music until they're done with tour, and then when they're done with tour, they're probably inspired to hit the studio, and that's when you'll send packs. You know, assuming, you know, quarantine, you know, obviously that's a whole topic in itself, but are there any other tactics or things producers should know about sending beats to artists?
Yeah, we definitely, I forgot about that. Yeah, we definitely did always think about timings of things, especially if we know the artist. Like that's kind of like a luxury. Like once we already would have some of those relationships, or at least have relationships with people around them. Like, okay, we're gonna send to this artist. We know he's on tour. He's not okay. This is the off day. Let's send them. Murda or very early would see once they're tweeting that we know they have their phone in their hand. That's a good time. But I mean, I guess, see, like, I'm not telling everyone, yeah, the way to make it is go make relationships with big artists, because that's not easy.
Right.
And I mean, yeah, definitely coming to LA instead of your hometown, you have a much better chance. Like we would go eat at Bossa Nova every night because we'd always meet people in the music industry there. We just knew it was a spot. But I mean, like, it can start by making a relationship with A&R on that artist team, with a homie with that artist. Like it's a lot easier. The artist with 5 million followers probably isn't going to open the DM, but his friend with 5,000 followers is going to see your DM. You know, that's a way too that we did things, is we try to get the people around them. It's obviously not realistic. Like you're in LA now, you're like, you come to LA and your goal is getting to Kendrick. That's going to be very difficult. It's very difficult, like for me to get to Kendrick even now directly. Like I don't like he's not a guy who's out on the scene or whatever. So you got to do your research. Who are the people around him? Who works at his label? Who works at his publishing company? I can't get directly to his publisher. All right, who's the new intern at that publishing company? Okay, let me figure out how to get with them, and then let me build some type of bond with them. You know, like I said, it's important to have something to offer. At the beginning, I knew I had jewelry. Everyone's down. Everyone, no matter how rich they were, the celebrities making millions of dollars, everyone's down for free jewelry.
Right.
Once again,
I
don't think anyone else will ever have that same story. but just finding something, finding some common ground to relate to that intern at the publishing company, then finding out a way to earn his trust, that like he's willing to give you a number or make an introduction to someone else, and then finding out with their publisher, and then taking your shot and knowing that might not work, but you made a relationship there. That first woman that we met with, Jennifer Drake, potentially talking about a pub deal, didn't end up doing anything with her. That led to getting into the Christmas party, and we made a relationship there, and now she's a close friend of mine, and we do business with her, and she's helped with other placements and stuff like that. So like it's also just like something that I did from the beginning, and something me and Murda too. Like we're polite to every single runner in studios. Like the amount of people who dislike, like you were saying at the beginning, to be an engineer at the beginning. But even I think a big thing, and like not to like pat on my back about being Canadian. I just noticed I have this little Canada thing. But like I think we're just naturally polite. Like it doesn't mean that we're nice. So people would always say to us around here, "Wow, y'all are so nice. Canadians are so nice." I'm not saying that we're all nicer people than Americans, because plenty of us are assholes too. Yeah. But there's something about just like manners. Like even the biggest fucking asshole from Canada will still always say thank you. We'll always say please. Well, it's just like we're just brought up with like manners are very important. So all relationships, like the amount of like runners and people who were assistants and interns 6 years ago that I have an incredible relationship in music. The amount of people who like really had a fond liking to me and Murda because we treated them as a human and with respect, whereas not many other people were, because in the room, there's this famous artist, there's this person who's friends with that person, there's that manager, there's that executive, and there's this assistant or runner at the studio. No one's paying attention. I'm treating them just as nicely, and this is how I've always been in the nightclubs too and everything, just as nicely as the most important person, and people remember that. So now that I've had longevity and 6 years in the game, there's many people now who are in big positions, and like my big brother, one of my closest friends in the industry and mentor, I call for advice, Ryan Press, he was an A&R at Warner Chappell. Now he's the president. Like there's Jennifer Drake was an A&R there. Now she's a VP at Sony. There's many people who were on the come up. Like I became friends with Dre London, who was a new manager managing a new country rap artist, Post Malone. Now he's the biggest artist on the planet. You know, like there's tons of guys who were runners at studios who are now big producers and engineers. And there's guys who are assistants who are now executives. It's important to make all relationships. You never know like which one's gonna lead to something. So yeah, like just a long answer, but it's important to just keep taking shots, bro. Like it's important to, I think a lot of people will be like really nervous. They'll take their like one shot and then wait and be like, fuck, that shot didn't work. I don't know if this is gonna work, man. Like maybe I can't put lows because I took that shot and it didn't work. A shot going up and missing would just motivate me to take 5 more shots. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So like I try to get Murda's beats to 100 people because like 1 or 2 would respond and something would happen. But that means that I had to take 98 or 99 failed shots.
Right. 98 L's to get 2 wins.
If you're with those 2 W's, so that's the thing. People see, like I'm looking, I have a bunch of number 1 plaques from Murda. I wish I could walk around with you guys a tour from all over the house, but like we have a ton of accolades and like plaques. But if you look at the amount of, if you probably did the like stats, like how many people we actually reached out to and sent beats to, there's you have to be willing to miss 99 times to get that W. All people see watching this and watching the gram and seeing things, it's like, wow, you got a song with Drake, you made it. But like they don't know that we had to miss 100 times to get that song, you know.
100%, bro. One thing too that I want to highlight too, because one of my question topics was, you guys like yeah, I want to pull up in LA, I want to pull up in Atlanta, I don't have any connections or whatever, and you definitely hit the point where you said we would just go places like where we know famous people might be eating, you know what I mean, instead of you get a group of friends that maybe you're pitching in to get a place in LA, instead of spending that extra money to get some place in the hills so you can flex on the gram or have some spending money to go to Fairfax or some shit, budget in stuff like you're talking about. Even if you just go to get appetizers or whatever, just like, we're going to go to these places, we're going to make sure we hit a place every night, and try to brush shoulders. And I think maybe another thing is, instead of being like, oh, I got to go to LA to get with these big major artists, try to look on social media and find the guys that are, at like 11K, 12K followers, and, try to see if you can pull up on their session and stuff like that.
Make relationships with 20 of the guys that are really hustling and coming up, because they're all really willing to make relationships with you. And in a year, one or two of those 20 people will be in a higher place also. But then it's you gotta, people care about what's the word? Being genuine. I'm trying to think of the plural word for
authentic.
Being authenticity. So like you have to also, thank you. You have to also be, you have to be authentic too. You have to be like real also.
Because you can smell right through the cat.
And many people, especially creatives, are introverts. And that's why like I think it's important to have someone who's really good at making authentic relationships with you too. I think it's very difficult, and because like it's you got to be the best at making music, but you got to have someone with you who's the best at making relationships too. And I'm not that's why it has to be an authentic relationship also. But just put it out there, and knowing that that's an important step, that's an important piece to have of your pie. Keep focusing. So this is like, I'm speaking to like you producers listening and watching. Like keep focusing on your craft, but put out there knowing that part of your journey is going to be to find someone with you who really believes in you, who can speak on your behalf, who can make relationships and help you push your brand and push your music and make relationships. And it doesn't mean just find that guy who I'm going to give 20% of my career for the next 3 years.
Yeah.
Plus, because this person knows ASAP Rocky. It's like, that's the one, because it isn't just that. They got to be willing to go talk to those 100 people that are just regular guys in the music industry, excited about you, and build those relationships on your behalf, and know that they're going to keep fighting for you, and know that they're going to be okay after they miss 98 shots, that they're still going to believe in you and go hard, because that's what it takes.
Facts.
That's it. Like I didn't plan anything that I'm saying, so I'm just like really really believing in that point that I just brought up. That like you got to be down to fail. You got to be down to miss. You got to be down to keep going, because people think Murda's rise was quick, but he was grinding for a couple of years before meeting me. I was doing all my party shit for years before meeting Murda. And then we came out here, and it took, in 2014, we didn't have our first real big placement until summer 2016. You know? So that had to take a couple of years of me and him together, and then years before that till we actually started reaching success. And then you got to go even fucking harder, because now there's doors open. Now you gotta keep kicking down new doors.
Yeah, and maintain the other doors, keeping them open too.
Exactly.
100%. And so dope, man. Do you have time for some Q&A? We bring some guys in and ask some questions.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, cool, man. So if you guys want to tap into the Q&A, hit the Zoom link in the description, and definitely come in. We got time for a couple. So, but real quick before we get to that, say it again.
People who are watching this live?
Yeah, there's 350 people watching right now.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, we're live
on Instagram,
on YouTube.
On YouTube.
Yeah, most definitely. Now, real quick, while we're waiting for people to come in, can you tell us about your position as A&R at Capitol, and what that and what is that? What do you do as an A&R?
Yeah, so as an A&R, my thing with that was really that I wanted to just learn about the labels, because like that's part of like now. In part of our vision and plans for Murda, it's him becoming the biggest producer, and we won Producer of the Year in 2018. We still want to keep going and knocking down more doors and more success, but then starting a publishing and production company, which he's done, and signing producers and songwriters, and one of the next things that we want to do and that we're working on now is building our own label and signing artists and breaking talent. So like, it's really important to me to get into a label system to really learn.
Gotcha.
And I've been with Capitol now for a little over a year, and going to their A&R meetings and looking for talent to bring in there and develop and help and assist with. And for like the last 6 months, I've been A&Ring this young, super talented female artist named Lauren Gray. She's a female pop artist, and been helping her with her project and release music, and it's been great. Just learning a lot, and um, bringing other opportunities to Murda and the team also, and bringing beats to artists there, and really just learning the system of how a major label works and releasing music, and now exploring that and exercising that through this new female artist, Lauren Gray, and her first project. And it's been great so far.
Dope, man. One thing I gotta highlight too, because you know I like to read between the lines, is we're talking to a guy here that has Grammys, multi-platinum, credits. You know, he's managing, one of the biggest producers in the world right now. He still wants to learn, still putting himself in positions to, I don't know everything, but I wanna know about this, and I'm willing to, take a title to learn, kind of thing. I like that.
Absolutely. And even like, I'm now in the process of looking into expanding from my management company and working with other partners, and potentially merging with another company, and because it's at a point where I want to keep working with and learning from experts and people much more established than myself and much more accomplished than myself, so I can continue to grow and grow and grow. And I think that's really important in life, to be constantly leveling up, and not feeling like you need to do everything on your own, not feeling like you're ever perfect, expert, professional. I know that there's always going to be room to grow, and once I reach new levels, I'm going to want to learn from people at other levels so I can keep growing and leveling up.
100%, man. I relate to that 100%. That's one of the main reasons I started, doing podcasts and stuff, is because, I want to ask questions that I think the audience wants to know too. But like, majority of these questions are things that I personally like, am wanting to know.
And that's what makes you authentic, because you're not just okay, this is what people are gonna like and is gonna sell. The reason why I'm able to be comfortable and have a great, like, real deep, open conversation with you is because you're asking things, and I can tell that, like, you really care about it and you're interested in it. That makes a real conversation flow. And that's the same for anything else.
100%, man. Most definitely, man. Well, we appreciate the great conversation, man. We got a couple people in here, and let's see what they want to know, man. So, Chrizzy, we got Chrizzy up first. Make sure when you guys join the Zoom, make sure you guys are connecting your audio and getting right to it.
What's up, Chrizzy? And that's what makes you authentic.
Oh, make sure you mute that YouTube video too. Chrizzy, what's going on, bro?
Yo, Dylan, what's up, bro? How you doing?
I see the merch, man. How you doing, bro?
I had to bring it out, man. It's only right.
Yeah, you did.
I need one of those.
Yes, sir.
Most definitely, I got you.
For sure, man. Corey, what's up? How you doing, bro?
Good, Chrizzy. How are you?
Man, I'm good, man. Thanks. I seen you dropped a lot of gems on here, man. So I definitely appreciate all the gems you dropped today. A question I have for you though is like, what were some keys to establishing Murda's brand? Like, once y'all start like first linked up, like what was like the start to the strategy y'all was working on?
The start to the strategy. That's a good question. Really just realizing like what's unique and different about Murda. Like, obviously, there's the fact that he's a white kid in hip hop. The fact that he's Canadian, Murda's hair, and then from a technical point to his music, he has like signature sounds in his beats. The tag was obviously really big. Now I feel like everyone's doing tags, but it's important to have a cool tag that people fuck with, and just getting him out there, like I've been talking about, and meeting different people and pictures. And I think now, as being an A&R, also, like you were asking, it's important to have something that like separates you with your brand. But also it's definitely tough, because it also shouldn't be like forced. It should be authentic. So something that's like authentically you, and whether it's something with physical appearance, whether it's like a certain emoji that you always use, whether it's a certain type of clothing that you use or whatever, but something about you, just so people remember. Mm-hmm. There's so, it's like Murda had something like very like physical, and that he's like white and like long hair.
Right.
He definitely looked different than other people and had like a hard name and a hard tag, you know.
Did he have a logo already when y'all got together, or did y'all work on the logo together?
We worked on that together, the one that we have now, but I don't remember if he had one already, to be honest.
Yeah, okay.
I think he probably did. But yeah, that's great. And then just having like a certain aesthetic that's like consistent. So like if you have certain way that you're like speaking, certain type of verbiage that you use, if your logo looks like this and it's these colors, maybe do that. Just when you're coming up, before you already have like a buzz and before you already have that, like that's what people look at. Like, is there a brand? Is there something like you just want it to be memorable when you're meeting people and when people look at you, that there's something that separates you from other people. Because you can make the best beats in the world, but there's so many people making good beats. So like it's cool to just to be memorable. Like and like I said before about taking shots, there's many people who we connected with at the beginning in like the first year who nothing happened with, but they remembered Murda. They remember me. So then like a year later when they see Murda's song come out with Amigos, like, oh yeah, that's that kid I met who looks like this and had that logo and had that tag. Like, oh yeah, you know, so it's like it's just
started from there. Yeah.
Having that like unique brand consistent with it and like going and knowing that a lot of people who notice it now, nothing's gonna happen of it for a year or two, but they're gonna remember you because you have something distinct and unique about it, you know?
I got you. Another question I have for you, bro, is first I want to say I like how like you mentioned you only really fail when like you don't really start, you know what I'm saying? So like you got to definitely put in that effort. Like effort definitely gets you in the door, you know what I mean? But I was just gonna also ask like are you looking to like when you say like you want to learn from others that like are a little bit more advanced and in I won't say higher positions, but just know a little bit more knowledge. What's your way of getting them to somewhat kind of mentor you, or how can you get the game or learn the game from them as well?
That's taking shots also, right? Because not everyone and the thing is I wouldn't approach the relationship as like, hey, I want something from it. I want to learn from you. I'd form a relationship first, and then that would kind of develop into that. Knowing that while still being genuine, not like using the person, but knowing that a goal of me wanting to be friends with this person is this is someone that I can learn from a lot and that can add to my life.
Yeah.
You know? So a lot of the people that I became friends with, it's like knowing that hey, first I genuinely like this guy, and me becoming friends with this person, I'm gonna learn a lot spending time with him. That's you know, right. like just like growing up, you kind of outgrow people that don't really add to your life, that like
value, right?
Taking away from your life. Not and that doesn't mean that they're doing something from you, but that means just that they're adding to your soul, to your knowledge, to your spirit. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's just you gotta, and like it's tough because same thing. It's like I didn't go to LA when I just wanted to make relationships. I came out to LA when I knew that I had a dope producer, that I had like a really popping new city that I could connect them with, and that I had like a grilled offer, that I had something to actually offer that would help me make a relationship, even though I know that I'm already a very have strong social skills and networking skills. I still knew that I needed to have something to actually offer, and that's why to make relationships. That's why just going up and trying to become friends with people off the strength of just that is definitely challenging. And that's why you're gonna have to like think of like what your approach to be. Like I said, how like one guy really got my attention by like giving me a Starbucks card. I didn't need a $10 Starbucks card. To be honest, I think I lost it. I don't think I
ever used it.
Like it was like something different.
Yeah.
Like
look, you still remember
it though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, still remember that.
Yeah, you still remember it. Yeah. So that's dope, man. That's what's up. That's what's up, Cory. Well, I just want to mention one more thing. Like it was a question, but it was kind of a statement too. Were you on the Days of Summer cruise this past summer? Like it was like a cruise with like a lot of the
We were supposed to be on it, but no.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Cause I had won tickets and got on that cruise and met like a lot of people that was out there and things like that. Yeah. And I thought I had ran into you for some reason, man. So I didn't know, but I did see Murda's name was supposed to be on the on there. I didn't see Murda out there either, so I guess that played a part.
It ended up conflicting with something else, and we had to cancel.
Word. Well,
yeah, that are great opportunities.
Yeah.
Like even like you can be like, oh, there's Cardi B, like there's the guy who hangs out with Cardi B, and like that's the guy to make a friendship with, and then like you know what I mean, like that's kind of our approach often.
Yeah, because I met a lot of people out there and got my like business card to a lot of people as well, but nothing really happened yet. You know what I mean? But I do a lot in my city as far as like engineering, and I make beats and I shoot music videos for artists, and it's really the one-stop shop. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So
here's the thing, though. Sorry to cut you off. You said you gave out your business card to a lot of people and nothing happened yet. Mm-hmm. But when you get your placement, your big placement in 6 months, and then you go bump into those guys again, they're gonna remember, oh yeah, we met on that days of summer cruise. So you actually did put in some work that's gonna help later on in your career.
That's real.
A lot of people that we have relationships with now, like probably the majority.
Wow.
The initial relationship, nothing happened. But because of that, when we went to make our next introduction, they were already comfortable with us. You know, then when I wanted to go to that studio session with that person, it's like, oh yeah, it's like, hey, bro, remember we met 2 years ago on the day of summer cruise? I just got a placement on Tata's album, which went #1. Oh yeah, cool. Like they feel comfortable letting you in. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, you gotta find some way to break through that initial barrier for them people to be comfortable with you.
That's real.
Like a lot of the studios we went into that led to something, it's because somebody was comfortable with us now to be able to bring us into that session. So the first time we could be like, oh, we just went to this party and we met these guys, and not like it's just the attitude that you have. Everything that we went, we were like, okay, another step. Many of those steps, nothing happened, but then like that little step that you took in meeting that guy at the days of summer cruise in 2 years is going to get you into that session. That's going to get you that big placement. That's why if your vision is I'm going to make it no matter fucking what, it's like all of these things are small victories. Going to the summer cruise, nothing happened yet, but you met a bunch of people.
Yeah, too many. I was out there handing business cards to a lot of people, bro, and got to sit down and just have conversations with like people normally wouldn't even had a convo with. You know what I mean? So it was definitely an opportunity, and I still look at it as an opportunity and not as a fail or nothing like that. You know what I mean? Because like you said, a year or two from now, once that placement pop, man, it's up, man. It's up from there.
Or next time, or you're at a club and they're in there and now you're not a random person. They met you before. You know what I mean? It's like,
that's real.
Even if they don't remember, you can start the conversation with, "Hey, man, ran into you the days of," you know what I mean?
Summer cruise.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you hear about that cruise, Dylan? It was been like it's probably back in July. It was a DJ Khaled summer cruise.
Damn.
And he had a lot of artists. Cardi B. Partisan Fontaine, the baby was out there. Just a whole lot of artists performing for real.
Okay.
And
like a festival vibe on a boat.
Festival vibes, yeah. On the cruise boat, man, on the water, man. So it was a dope experience, man, for sure.
That's fire, man. So, well, we appreciate you tapping in, bro.
Hey, man, likewise, man. Thanks for having me.
You busy?
Most definitely,
man. Be in touch.
Yes, sir. All right, man. One more. Let's bring in Zanebeats, and then I know you got to get your day started, man. I know it's a little bit earlier over there. We're on the East Coast, so
it's only 8:30.
Yeah, what up?
Zanebeats, what's going on, bro?
So just a little bit of like a background of where I'm at right now. Been producing beats for like 2 years.
Hey, merge gang, let's go.
So just recently, just this year, I started to be able to actually sell my beats. And just this past month, I was able to go to Orlando. I live in Oklahoma, and I was able to get in the studio over there with 2 artists, and we were able to pump out 2 songs. I was wondering if you had any tips on like what someone like me who lives somewhere where the music isn't like so strong, what like networking I could do to possibly like get with more people like managing with them better. I mean, networking with them better, to like get in the studio in other states. Like what you would suggest for me to come at them with, like, because I'm able to travel just fine. Like I've saved up enough to be able to do it at least once a month. So I'm trying to see like what I could do better to make that happen more often.
Yeah, so I mean, our approach. I think you gotta use the YouTube or mute something else,
Yeah, it's tough if you just turn your volume down a little bit.
or just mute it. Well, yeah. So, like I was saying earlier, our how Murda did it himself, and then we did it is we would often approach like the people around the artist first. So whether it means that you're connecting, and the easier to connect with people are the A&Rs, the managers, the friends, the engineers, the producers who are in the studio with the artists, and it might be a good way to start by, like if there's make a list of 50 artists you want to connect with. Now's you got to really be grinding like that and go at those. Go on their Instagram, go on Google, find out who the people are around them, rather than just trying to take shots at the artist and they're not looking at it. Network with those people. I'm saying a high number like 50 because there's going to be 10, 20 where you're just going to hear nothing from. So if you want to have some positive results, you got to shoot at a lot of shots. And just that's how I've always done it, even before Murda, and that's how Murda always did it, even before me. Is we'd go at the people around the artist. So like there's someone in this state who you really like, find out who that person's engineer is, friends are, producers who are actually with them in the studio every day, managers, A&Rs, and so that's like 5 right there. Find those 5 people for 50 artists. Can network with those people. I'm saying that because that's 250 people that you're going to reach out to if you do that. If you reach out to if you actually do that, 250 people, 50 people, the 5 people around them, I guarantee you get 5 or 10 people hit you back. You're gonna get to one of them and you're gonna fly out.
Fire.
So there's a very quick exact blueprint that I just gave you that 100% will work if you do it. But you just got to do it. 250.
One other thing, so like here I've been helping with like the underground rappers that I've met with. So, and what do you suggest as far as like getting a cipher together, and like we're putting together flyers and getting with the local little event place here? Is there anything else that you would suggest for marketing wise to make more people show up to that cipher?
I mean,
like the rap battle.
Every city's different. So I think it's important to just find someone. I don't think now you should put your focus into becoming like the promoter expert in your city. I think you should keep your focus on you and being a producer. I think an easier thing for you to do in your own city is find out who's the person who really has their finger on the pulse of promotions and stuff in the city. Network with that person. Ask that person that question that you just asked me, and get them to help you with that.
Or
okay, for sure.
I'd say offer a cash prize too. You know what I mean? And
yeah, sure.
After you get a couple going, maybe you can book an artist that's on the come up. That's doing nationally known.
I recommend having someone who like believes
in
with you to like help you with this, so you can still stay focused on your music career and building that up. But that's definitely a great idea, and I think like recruiting someone in the city who's doing events already and knows the clubs and has some relationships and stuff like that would be good to help you with that.
Right. Because you're not looking at it as a profit thing. You're looking at it as like what can you get from it, on the networking side, and how can you,
building your brand.
Yeah, I'm looking at it more for just to get more connections and find talent, really.
Yeah.
For the long run.
So bring on a partner who that's their specialty, and let them get a piece so they can work their magic.
Okay. One other thing, as far as like, because my budget isn't like too big yet, would you suggest like contracts with the people, or what do you think would be like a good thing for like getting that promoter without throwing out too much cash.
I mean, what contract with the promoter is going to help you with the event?
They get a certain percentage from the tickets sold or something. Would that be something that promoters are into?
That depends on your relationship with the person. I mean, it's always great to have something in writing. But yeah, I think it's kind of case by case basis. You guys will figure out something that works amicably for both of you. Once again, you're in a great position because they'll be doing this as a business opportunity. You're with the goal of earning a profit and expanding their brand in the city, whereas you're doing it with just musical ambition. So if the guy ends up wanting 50% or even more than 50%, your goal is just to make this as popping as possible. So you're in a great position here. And should you put something in writing? I mean, I would recommend having something in writing for any type of financial agreement you ever do for anything in life.
Yeah, for sure. I write up contracts for everything that I do, just so that way, in case it goes over, I don't get screwed up.
Well, there you go.
It's just comforting.
For sure. All right. Appreciate it. That was pretty much it.
All right, man. Appreciate you tapping in.
Good luck, bro.
Later.
Yes, sir. Cool, man. Cory, man, one more time, man. Appreciate your time this morning. Appreciate the gems. Appreciate you, letting us in on your story and your come up. Dope episode in the books, man.
100%, man.
All right, bro. I'll shoot you a DM. I'll get you a pack of merch, man.
Thank you, bro. I'll rock it.
All right, man. All right, man. All right. We'll be in touch, man. Appreciate you.
For sure.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, man. Another dope episode, man. Appreciate everybody, man. Appreciate the 40 for 40s. You know what I mean? Episode 40, it's a celebration. Appreciate, like I said, the 40 for 40s. Appreciate anyone that's been here at any one of these episodes, man. Tomorrow, so I do have an early flight back home. So tomorrow we will have to sit tomorrow out. There won't be a morning show. But it'll be a nice little break. And then Friday we'll be back, man. We got a dope artist. Friday morning, our first artist interview, artist on the come up, artist that I truly believe in, and would love to see some of the early gang members, some of the people in the chat end up working with this guy, because man, this is the artist that I think, man, is on his way. Out of all the artists I know and work with on a regular basis, man, he's someone that I truly believe in, man, and like I said, so it'll be dope to bring him into our network, bring him into the early gang, introduce him to all you guys, and like I said, man, see what kind of work we can get going, and man, let's get some music out there, let's get some projects going. So we will see you guys back Friday. I can't say every day because we're missing tomorrow, but you already know to catch us every day on the regular, Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. man. Let's go. Appreciate that, Chris 90s, man. Appreciate that, man. I'm not the best. You guys are the best, man. Appreciate you one more time. He said about to have mad tight beats in his name. No, that'll be fire. That'll be dope, because that'll just help us all out. You know what I mean? On the producer side and on his side, if we can flood the YouTube with his tight beats, so that way when he does go up, you know what I mean, we can capitalize on that too. But that's the last thing I'm gonna say, man. Appreciate you guys, man. I'll see you guys Friday. Appreciate that, man. I will have a safe flight, man. Appreciate you guys. I'm just hitting buttons.